So hello guys, and welcome to this last episode of the Frank campaign, and that is purely because I completely fucked up on this episode. I will go into that shortly, but also the reason why I'm narrating to you today, rather than actually recording this live, is purely because I literally forgot to disable my new webcam's microphone. So you get this very tinny sound instead of the nice crisp, or the crisper um, voice that you're hearing at this moment in time. So that was also fun. Um, so basically, at this point, I was just talking to you about what I've talked to you about just now, but in a much more concise manner. Um, and my initial plan was to, at this point, just hold out because, as you can probably remember, there was quite a few armies on my doorstep, and that didn't change, even though there was a active rebellion going on in my borders as well. Um, what they what they did, sorry if I can get my words right, is basically disappear and then reappear later on in the episode, as you can as you'll probably see. Um, and also, at this point, I'm gonna raise to you guys a question. Like, I know how I love my questions, and like really hope that you stick around and basically listen to me, because it's fairly important, because it's whether like I decide to continue with the format that I've been continuing with. So basically, I've been noticing that, although you guys like watch my content, which I'm very grateful for, the retention time is not that great. So at this point, I'm going to ask, how can I best improve your retention to my videos? Obviously, because I take a lot of time and effort into editing these videos, and I want you to basically enjoy them and not get bored by them. So if you can just help us out with that, that would be brilliant. Just leave us a nice comment in the comment section, just to give me some general pointers, and I will duly read them and implement them if I feel they are or they can improve the experience for the whole channel as well as yourself, which will probably be the case. But as you can see here, I'm just upgrading or leveling up my generals, and I'm just aimlessly sort of just going for the best skills that I really wanted to at this point, because I knew as well that I was in a dire state of affairs, as you can probably see from the finances. Um, so yeah, that was kind of fun. I gotta say, this episode was really sort of fun, and I was kind of expecting to do well, but no spoilers, of course. You'll have to sit around and watch and see if I do. But yeah, I'm just sort of going and really sort of deciding what I'm going to do with those armies down the south there, as you can see, and I I decide to wait a couple of more turns to then find out what those armies are doing lurking on my border, um just adjacent to my capital city. Excuse me. And as you can see, the Nordic territories decide to attack um, one of my minor cities, which I was okay with. I knew that I wasn't going to defend the city, so I decided just to auto resolve it. And I know a couple of you guys don't like that, but I'm the kind of person, if I don't see a victory and I know that we're all but lost, I don't really want to waste your time. So yeah, as you can see, they have scorched the territory, so I can't grow any more food in that region if I ever decide to go back. Which was slightly disappointing because I was starting to get some really good like yields of food from said region. So what I've decided to do here again is to just wait another turn to see what they do. And I was talking to you at that point about um, the general election and its outcome. So I suppose I will do the same. It's kind of weird watching yourself back, but basically, as you may know, or um, the UK has just undergone a general election for its prime minister, and it turns out that David Cameron is going to stick around for another 5 years. And as I said in my original recording, I'm not sure if I'm happy about that or not. Because as you well know, if you've been watching my videos for a while now, I'm a person with a centre left persuasion, and therefore I didn't quite agree with conservative policies up to this point. But now that they've got rid of the Liberal Democrats, which is also a minor party in the UK, it's the third largest party, but we sort of know it as the minor party because we operate on a first past the post system, um, and therefore we generally get majorities and we don't really see coalitions. But last election we saw a coalition which I was personally pretty excited about. And just a quick side note, I'm just choosing another governor and things like that because for some reason that incumbent governor no longer existed. So yeah, that was a bit confusing. But yeah, so I was pretty excited about the whole prospect of a coalition. And as we got closer and more and more, into the premiership of said coalition, it was clear that the smaller party, in this case the Liberal Democrats, were only going to moderate the largest party, in this case the Conservative, which you could argue was a good thing, but I expected them to have a bit more gumption, have a bit more fire in their bellies, and obviously we are not privy to information that the government may or may not know, and it could not be, it couldn't, it, it may have not been possible to limit some of the policies that eventually came out of the Conservative and Lib Dem coalition. So now that we have a majority, what does that mean for the general state of the country and its policy? And as you can see, I've gone bankrupt, so never put me in charge of any sort of financial affairs because I will be absolutely rubbish. No, I'm only joking. I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah, just yeah. don't allow me near any sort of near any sort of galaxy, or any sort of decent chocolate, because I'll probably spend the treasury's money in that said chocolate. So anyway, enough sidetracking. um, yeah. So what does that mean to the general sort of policy direction of the UK? Well, I think personally that we won't see a dramatic difference. We'll just see a continuation of policies that have gone before. Whether you agree with those policies is another matter. Um, for instance, oh yes, and they decided to declare war on us, so that's also fun. So that's all the Nordic territories now wanting to bite my head off, and I'm sorry, I'm just moving, wanting to bite my head off and leave me for dead. So that was fun. At this point, I was rather panicky, because obviously, effectively, I had a war on all fronts, um, and as we all know, history has taught us that that's not necessarily a good thing at times. So, yet again, I've gone bankrupt. So, and at this point, I was quite dejected and was like, "Oh, this is clearly going to be the sort of end sort of episode," and I was like, "Right." I had two choices, whether to basically sit around and slowly die, or take it to the enemy. And guess which one I chose. Um, I'm waiting for my former self to catch up with my narration here. Uh, oh God, I love narration. It's just you know so cool. Yeah, so I've decided to come out and attack them, and I was feeling semi-optimistic of my chances at this point. Um, and again, I was just talking to you as I was just now about the prospect of said government now in charge. So yeah, I kind of feel that there is a general continuation of policies. However, I do feel that they're going to just rapidly expand their plans for the future. Namely, I think they're going to go a bit more deeper in terms of cuts to the public sector to try and stimulate the private, in particular. They're going to try and stimulate economic activity in the north, which they've already discussed, and the way they're going to do that is basically make what they're calling the Northern Powerhouse. So that's all the major cities in the north, basically interconnected by a very controversial rail system called HS2. Um, and I, to be honest with you, I'm not sure if that's going to happen. It's looking quite shaky. They've been talking about it for freaking ages, even before this coalition came into being. Really, it was something Labour was sort of flirting with, as well as the Conservatives. But the Conservatives was like, "Hey, this is a good idea. Let's take this further." So I'm not too sure if it's going to necessarily gonna take off, so to speak, and construction is actually going to start. Because, as I said, there are a lot opposition. So what I've done here, as you may have seen through my ranting, I've just selected my entire army, and I was like, right, I'm just going to attack one point, and you know, we'll see what happens. And I'm gonna say now, the results were mixed. See what I did there? No, at this point, I just knew that the campaign was virtually over, and I was like, you know, live or bust sort of thing. So yeah, that's what I think the Conservatives are gonna do within sort of the next Parliament or so. I think there's going to be a lot of gusto from from especially Labour, because obviously they were expecting a hung Parliament and they didn't get it, and I don't know at the point of recording this video whether Ed actually has resigned, and that is Ed Miliband, by the way. Um, I suspect he won't for at least a couple of months, just to see whether his his leadership can dig Labour out the hole. However, um, because they were expecting a hung parliament, um, I don't know whether the Labour leadership will just be like, you had your one chance, we put we put our trust in you over your brother, which is also hilarious. The campaign was absolutely just riddled with low blows about the opposition leader's sort of family. Because if you do not know and you're not from the UK, the opposition's brother was also standing for the leadership of the party, and he subsequently lost. Well, that's made the media absolutely jump on this pseudo freaking bandwagon of what has this done to your relationship as brothers. Well, if I can tell you now, if I was the leader of the opposition party, or my brother was the leader of said party, I wouldn't give two damns. I really wouldn't. If I lost the leadership election, I'd be like, fair play, all the best to you, and I'll be there to help you. Maybe that's just me and my values coming through there, but I just didn't see the point of all this hubbulaloo over the brothers' relationship, and whether it's been damaged. I thought it was completely pointless and demonstrates the state of our sort of society, and its sort of ugly side, if you will. I don't get me wrong. I love it. I love this country. I think it's the most progressive and most accepting in the world, and we should obviously continue that. But as is the case with most modern democracies, you sort of end up having this personality sort of cult, um, politics coming through. You could probably you can kind of see that in America when uh, you know politicians like to snipe at Obama, and they say, oh, he's Republican, therefore, he's socialist. It's just, uh, he's a Democrat even, therefore he's a socialist. I got my two parties mixed up there. I just, yeah. Obviously, we haven't really seen that much of sniping in terms of this election, but it definitely does happen. And as you can see here, and sorry for the frame rate drops if you are experiencing some, because I can tell you now I am, and it's not fun. Uh, so as you can see here, I was quite optimistic at this point, because they had dog units and they're not very powerful and stuff, but they ended up withdrawing them, and well, you'll see the results. Um, yeah, so again, I will apologize for the political rant, and but if you guys have any thoughts on this, then please let me know, and I would love to have a little conversation with yourselves. And of course, if you want me to start with the political rants, then as long as the majority is there, then of course I will. But it's something that interests me, and therefore, I'm going to convey that to you guys. And oh my god, this terrible frame rate. I don't know if that's because I've got too many frames open. Too many frames, too many programs. Could well be that I'll have to wait and see until I've actually finished sort of encoding and stuff like that. So at this point, I was just like, right, I'm just gonna throw everyone into the fray, and that was including the horses. And yeah, it's quite a protracted sort of battle, so it's kind of difficult to really know what to talk to you about at this point, because obviously we've gone through the general election, and all that good stuff, and what I think is going to happen with policies in terms of the initial parliament. So yeah, I mean, I will tell you at this point, I went through the remake of DMC Devil May Cry, and I've gotta say, it's not a bad game. It is not a bad game at all, guys. If you haven't played it already, I would highly recommend it. It's not as good, or it's not as sort of reminiscent of the originals, but obviously you don't want a carbon copy of a game that you've already played. But it's certainly a worthy successor, I would say, to the original DMCs. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there was another DMC on the horizon, and I am fairly excited. Um, Although I didn't like Dante's new hair initially, I did actually start playing it when it came out, but I never actually finished it until well, this weekend really. And yeah, I gotta say, I was waiting. If you've never played DMC, you might want to fast forward now, because there will be a spoiler alert. So I will give you at least 5 seconds, and and then you can skip forward to about, I don't know, about 5 minutes, because that's as long as I'm going to speak to you about. So yeah, what I think of the game, it's essentially I think that the story took a long way to get going, and I was expecting the betrayal of Virgil to happen much sooner than it actually did. I mean, come on, man! You're gonna leave him to the last mission to like go. Actually, he's going. He's evil as fuck. Now you've got to take him down in the last mission, and then to have a trophy to say the end, or is it? That just infuriates me. I know that there's DLC to like remedy that situation, but if you don't know my position on DLC, I will quickly tell you now. My position is as follows, really. I don't think there should be DLC uh, uh, in a game, especially story focused DLC, that is integral to the telling of the game, presented as DLC. Because as you may or may not know, uh, there has been a few games in the recent past that have gone, hey, blah blah blah. Oh, by the way, you, you might want to buy this DLC to complete the story. I don't accept that. I really don't accept that. And I don't believe it should be encouraged in any shape or form. Because at the end of the day, you're buying a product and you expect that product to be complete as so far as it tells the complete story uh, from beginning to end. And that should be it. You can certainly add DLC in the end to explain some bits and pieces. For example, lore um, um, that were not otherwise very well explained um, in the initial playthrough. I have no problem with that. And if it's good DLC, then more power to you. However, I just think that integral like story DLC that you conveniently misplaced or like didn't put in the original game, that gets me so angry, guys. I gotta say, and obviously because as we know, or if you've been a long time DMC fan, Virgil goes evil. He goes evil, and yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. How long he took to show his new colours. So that anyway, that's my thought on the game. Epic, epic boss battles though. You know, they nailed that. They really did nail that. And I applaud them for it, because at the end of the day, that's why we play. That's why we play these games, to be like wowed in terms of having the action, amped up, so to speak. So they nailed that down to a T, in my opinion. And as you can see, I literally was capitulating left, right, and centre, and I had to call in more people to replace people that have died. And yeah, it's not good times, guys. It's not good times. I mean, we've got agents at our doorstep. We've got frigging wavering loyalties. We've got um, we had a noble birth though. That's a positive. Um, yeah. So it's not really a good time for us at the moment. We're surrounded on all fronts. Yeah. So I don't know, like whether they should really going back to Devil May Cry. I don't know if they should really make another one because, or if they do, they need to present it to me personally in a different way. Because that for me, that is my major gripe with the game. It took ages for Virgil to actually show his true colours. You know, and I understand that some people are like, well, strategical gamer. Um, you don't want the carbon copy game. No, I don't. I've already said that, but I don't expect to be wondering what's happening with the central plot points in a game that I know is going to happen and it's not there. Why? Why leave it into the last mission? It doesn't make sense. Cause then it's just gonna leave you asking questions at the end of the game, and that inevitably brings DLC. So yeah, I'm not a fan. So this is it, guys. I literally said at this point, because of my impending doom, that there wouldn't be another part for a while because I kind of feel that this Let's Play is done now. I kind of don't feel I can rescue it at this point, and yeah, so I'm going to move on to different games, and please leave me a quick message as to what you want to see, and I will see you next time